today is the day I am using a rank 1 core for my battles in Ultra League, and this is mainly because I have a rank 1 Shadow Wolverine over here alongside the rank 1 Charizard for Open Ultra League. Of course we're gonna pair it up with Trevenant just for the elemental bonus, but other than that the IVs on my Trevenant are kinda garbage. Anyways, let's see what we have over here now for these battles with this exact team, because we're looking at a line with a lot of synergy between each individual picks. We're having the Wolverine up in front, while at the back the safe switch is gonna be our Trevenant, and of course our main closer Charizard on its regular form. And this is mainly because we want to have kind of a better matchup against those water types, so the regular form instead of the Shadow is gonna help you much more with that little bit of extra bulk, especially when we're looking at the individual matchup against that Swampert. Anyways, let's see what we have going on now, because Charizard on my opponent's side is gonna be able to have more energy than mine, but still, since we're having the upper hand with the IVs, I'm gonna take advantage of that and still reach to the Blast Burn for almost the nuke, and right after I'm pretty sure that even if they take us out, we can easily farm down at this point with our Trevenant. Now at the back they have that Annihilate, which means that all we have to do here is to overfarm a little bit extra, still reach to the Shadow Ball for the knockout against that Pokemon, and right after we can still finish off even a threat like this Charizard with a simple Seed Bomb when they're sitting at this amount of HP. Into the next battle now, and let's see what we have going on, because Wolverine is gonna face some really bad leads from now on. So Annihilate is gonna be one of those very bad ones, and we're gonna just switch out to our safe switch, which happens to be our Trevenant. Of course we're meeting up with the Sandslash, which is another severe counter to our Pokemon, but I know that this is Ultra League, and even with mediocre IVs we can still make them throw all the energy that they are having. I'm getting pretty close to the Shadow Ball here, but instead I'm gonna press my Seed Bomb because I just want them to shield my next move. They're gonna wait a little bit here because they do not want my Wolverine to farm a lot of energy in the process, which is a smart choice, but still they're gonna go down, and right after Annihilate is super glassy even for that Ultra League format. So I'm just gonna take whatever move they throw here. It ends up being just the Night Slash, which means here that the double Icicle Spear is coming up. Look at how much damage we can do on their end. Now this Annihilate is gonna be extremely low, and I will switch out to my Charizard in a weird attempt to snipe them down, but my opponent will think that I'm gonna do that, so they will bring their Wolverine into play, and right here I'm just gonna go for the Blast Burn and the nuke on that Pokemon. Now with this amount of HP that they have after the Blast Burn, all we have to do is to respect the damage from the following Icicle Spears, and right after a double Dragon Claw will most likely seal the deal. And the second one on the CMP, let's get it now trainers, the rank 1 Charizard is really putting up the work, and we managed to win an unbeatable matchup. Into the next one now, since we're having a Poliwrath up in front, this is gonna be kinda bad for us. Of course though, the charge attack that Poliwrath is having currently are not gonna be super good against our Wolverine, so we can totally take advantage of that towards the end of the battle. Just keep that in mind. Now we're having on the switch Gengar, and whenever I see a Gengar at the back, instantly I think that they have a Giratina as well in a weird double ghost backline. So down goes now Gengar, but we have lost both of our shields in the process. It doesn't matter because we can definitely push now that Poliwrath to the edge, since we're having another pair of those Seed Bombs for their end. So they're gonna be able to farm us down eventually, which is pretty great I guess, but remember what I told you before, we resist pretty much whatever they throw here, since most Poliwraths are gonna have Icy Wind and Scald, taking that little bit of a risk since they do not have the Dynamic Punch. We're just gonna stand victorious here because my opponent most likely have nothing else to throw, and we're just gonna take this victory eventually with our Charizard. Into the next battle now with the Ampharos up in front. This Pokemon is very troublesome, okay, because it carries Brutal Swing for my Ghost type, it carries the electric moves for my Charizard and my Wolverine, so you can see as to how this Pokemon can be used as a core breaker against mine. So what I want to do in this incident is to go ahead, throw the Icicle Spear, and right after we're just gonna go down to the Thunder Punch, return into the battle with my Trevenant, sacrifice a shield in the process, and then do whatever whatever I can with my Trev. This Pokemon is extremely good and we can start baiting some shields out of our opponent with the Seed Bomb and perhaps the Shadow Ball now for the Nuke. No, we're not gonna do that, and my opponent here will go for the Shadow Ball on the Charizard. You know what, I'm just gonna take my chance over here, since I'm just gonna get to the Blast Burn for extra damage. Even when resisted, Blast Burn is gonna do more damage than a neutral Dragon Claw, which is something that you definitely need to keep in mind. Right after, we're gonna get completely farmed down, which is very unfortunate. I was hoping to farm down their side instead, and it doesn't matter because they have the Annihilate at the back, but in the end game it really does matter, since they have Night Slash and not even Ice Punch, which takes a little bit of extra energy to be unleashed. So yeah, they're just gonna outspeed us to the charge attack and we're gonna fall into a very unfortunate matchup. It doesn't matter, let's head now into that Tapu Fini lead, and of course this is winnable for whoever is gonna get to the Nuke first. If we get to that Earthquake, we're gonna have the upper hand. If they get to the Moonblast and pass it through our shields, they're gonna have the upper hand. So yeah, you can see the exchange over here. So I'm just gonna take the fact that we have the shield advantage here, and now Trevenant is gonna hold completely that Cobalion. I said completely, but still we need to sacrifice a shield in the process, okay, for that second Stone Edge at least. Now we have some decent amount of energy stored up on our Pokemon, and at the back, at the very end, as their third Pokemon, emerges the Metal Trash Can. I'm just gonna go here for those Shadow Balls because I know that Seed Bomb is not gonna be blocked by my opponent. Most of those red steels are being used as punching bags, and that makes a lot of sense because this is a Metal Trash Can anyways. So now my Charizard will come into the battle. Now I'm gonna get my hands on the Earthquake for the Nuke on that Pokemon, Shadow Walrein over here, but they managed to block anyways. They are kind of afraid that they cannot farm down here with the water guns, and to be fair, they might have been right. I was not sure. I need to see that on replay to make a better outcome on my saying, but still I'm just gonna block whatever they throw on my Charizard, over farm a little bit extra, and still reach now to the Blast Burn. Now Red still returns, but since we're getting to the Blast Burn, they want to top left this battle, and we're gonna get another huge victory with that team. This is now a battle that I want to showcase to you, even though we had a very good lead up against the Giratina, and that's mainly because of Mac coming in as a switch. What you want to do here is to throw first the bait with the Icicle Spear. Most likely they will go ahead and shield and then get to the Earthquake, but my opponent here is gonna get to the Acid Spray right on the edge before getting to the Earthquake, which is kind of a big bummer. Now with both shields out of the way, you want to switch out immediately to your Charizard because whatever they throw here can easily be taken, and you need to keep that final shield for your Trevenant. Now at the very end, they're having a Scrafty, which is pretty much good news for us, and we're getting super low in combination with that Acid Spray, I believe. Or did they go for that Dark Pulse? I do not remember. Anyways, still gonna be able to reach here to the Blast Burn for the knockout against the Scrafty, and of course we have one more Dragon Claw before going down. So I'm expecting them to come back with the Giratina, trying to farm that little bit of extra energy, one worth of one Shadow Claw over here, but we're gonna do the ultimate position, the ultimate switch, the ultimate decision with a switch out to our Walrein to catch the move, and right after we have the Shadow Ball to finish off even that Mac. I didn't mind that they went through and caught on that Mac because I'm pretty sure I can survive the falling Dragon Claw. I was counting the moves, that's why I knew this was gonna be a Dragon Claw, and of course right after we got the Shadow Ball for big damage output on that Devilish God of Pokemon Go. Into the final one now, and we're having Poliwrath up in front. This Pokemon with counters can do so much damage on our Walrein, but we still saw before that they are gonna be able to do not that much of a big work with those charge attacks. But note down that this Poliwrath, this exact Poliwrath, is having Mud Shot as its fast attack. This is something that I saw pretty lately on the battle, and this mainly because both of my Ghost typing and the grass typing of Trevenant can resist the fast attacks that Poliwrath might be having in total. So yeah, I was thinking that they're having counter, but at this point I believe before they switch out I figured out that they had Mudshot. Anyways, enough about that flattering introduction that I had about Poliwrath, and now let's see what we have going on the Switch, because Blast Burn is gonna do so much damage on that poor Venusaur. Now at the back they have Cresselia, which is another Pokemon which is gonna struggle against my Pokemon, and that makes me think that perhaps their Poliwrath doesn't have Scald, otherwise they could throw it up against me. So with that in mind, now I'm just gonna return the battle with Wolverine. Perhaps they might be having something like a Dynamic Punch, but let's see together, because oh my goodness, this is a Dynamic Punch, and of course now we need to push at some point for the knockout and the Icicle Spear. Down they go with the Poliwrath. Cresselia now returning into the battle, and I know for sure that they cannot farm down, at least not before I reach to another Icicle Spear, and they definitely need that shield. However, I still have a double Seed Bomb ready to go on my Trevenant, so one goes for the shield and one more for the knockout on that poor Cress, and we managed to get the final victory for this video with this amazingly strong team. Thank you for watching, trainers, and for staying till the end. Just be sure to smash that like button before you go, subscribe to the channel if you are new to my content, and over here I have 2 videos for you to check out. Feel free to check them out, and I will catch you up later into the next one.